Hi, gossip people. Jax West, not family, just a supporter. Somebody tell me if you get on and can see this and can hear me, because I'm doing this by my iPad because I'm not at home. It's showing me 4 people on right now. While I'm waiting to see, somebody say hello or something, post something so I can see. There we go, Kayla, thank you very much. So while I'm giving people a little bit of time to get here before we get into the bullshit, I was actually, I've been in Springfield. Thank you, Kayla. I've been in Springfield, Illinois, on and off for the last month because any of you who have seen me do videos before, you know I do political stuff. So I've been here harassing my Illinois State House of Representatives and been sitting in their sessions every day. And so since I'm down here in Springfield for that, Melissa Kaluzinski and Marnie Yang, 2 of the cases I advocate for, their prison is only a half hour from here. You know, so this is 3 hours from my home, but their prison is a half hour from here. So I go do my business at the Capitol, typically done by like 1 p.m. because, you know, politicians aren't working very late. And so then I go over to the prison and visit. So I've visited both Marnie and Melissa. I visited them both last week. And now this week I visited Marnie yesterday and Melissa today. So when I do my stuff at the Capitol, I can't have my phone. Well, I have my phone, but I can't respond because I'm doing something where I can't be on my phone. And then when I'm in the prison, you can't bring your phone in. So I'm MIA a lot of the time. And so while I was doing stuff at the Capitol this morning, I was getting tons of screenshots from supporters and the moderators and everything that Sandy Greenman has again tried to sick her dogs on me. But before I get into that, it was when I got out of the prison from visiting with Melissa, I had a missed call from her dad, and then he texted me, which Paul doesn't text a whole lot. He's not good at spelling, so he doesn't like to type stuff out. And it says, call me ASAP. And so I called him and found out that a date has been set for Melissa, which is just so funny that I was just with her. It's too bad I didn't know that before going in because I could have told her, because Melissa has no idea. So from what I understand is the lawyers and judge and such, they'll be talking on Tuesday. And then we should know Tuesday if the date that's set for Thursday, if that's going to be an actual court date or just something that's going to be email between the legal people. So I have to be in Springfield again all next week, but so because I'm leaving Springfield tomorrow, driving the 3 hours back home. Then I'm going to see Steven this weekend, and then I'm driving back down here on Tuesday, and I'm supposed to be here Tuesday through Friday. But I said, if we find out on Tuesday that she does have an actual court date on Thursday, then I'll just cut short down here in Springfield and be back there because I'm not going to miss a court date for Melissa, which also then would bring me to another one. Kathleen doesn't, this is from Kathleen's office, but Kathleen doesn't try Kent Pellegrini's case. That's her associate, Doug. And so you have Kent's case has his oral arguments on June 5th. Then you have the Marnie Yang case, which is not a Kathleen Zellner case. We're supposed to be filing for Marnie the week of June 17th. And we've got a whole bunch of stuff in store for you on the Marnie Yang case, because Marnie has been in prison for 10 years and her story's never been told, ever. So, you know, I've told you guys before, if you go research Marnie Yang, everything you find says she's guilty. But I would just ask you all to please hold your judgment until you see the other side of it. Because I actually had a roundtable meeting with her whole legal team. Speaking of her legal team, there's Tammy. Hi, Tammy. Tammy, who's on here right now, that just says hi. She's my boss with the WMP Justice Review team that I joined on as an advocate. Tammy is somebody who champions for all kinds of injustices, not just wrongful convicted, but also South Africa. Good, Christy, because I was talking to her on the phone from driving from Melissa to here and told her to join, you know, that she could watch all of this. But you've seen me make posts before or talk about the WMP Justice Review. And so that's Tammy. And Tammy has been researching this Marnie Yang case for a long time. And let me tell you, there is so much there that this poor woman, like everybody else, is in prison for something she didn't do. Yes, she confessed. But so did Brendan, and so did Melissa. So, and just because Marnie is super smart, super smart. She's actually a teacher in the prison, and she's teaching people math, which I'm not smart at all. And I don't think I'm good at any subject, but math is by far the worst for me. And Marnie teaches math to the other inmates there. And so even on our visit yesterday, she was going over things about like talking in fractions, and the way she talks to them, where it's like, okay, if they like sports, she talks about being on a team, and you know, they're all in the same color jersey for their team. Well, that's like the bottom number in a fraction. You have to get it on the same team. But then, are all their jerseys the same number? No, there's a different number. And I'm sure, it sounds all good, but me and math, really, me and numbers. Oh, numbers and I don't get along. So, Marnie Yang case, that's also happening in June. Stephen's case could be any day, that we could hear something. So June is going to be huge for wrongful convictions. And something that I've posted before is the purpose of the Justice Review team, and it's such a great team of specialists, ballistics, the lie detector guy, there's cops, there's I could go on and on, but Justice Review is going to help other people, other families of the wrongfully accused or other injustice. And so these experts will be there to investigate these cases. So there's a Facebook page and there's a website. So it's WMP for Words Matter Publishing, Justice Review. You can submit a case there. And, so just like Kathleen Zellner says that she's not going to take a case or defend somebody that she knows they're guilty, that's the same thing with Justice Review team. So, if it's a case they're covering, they've got tons of evidence to show that they're innocent. So there's that, and we need money. Which is funny since I'm on here now to Because again, people are talking about me stealing money. But, to have all those experts, it costs money. So WMP Justice Review will be putting something together for if you want to donate. They're a 501c3, so, you can claim it on your taxes to help cases like Marnie and others. So, all right, let me go into today's drama on why I'm here today, even though I'm here in my Airbnb. And let me warn you, if all of a sudden I scream, it's because when I got here on Tuesday, there's some animal in here with me. And I haven't seen it since the first day, and it was just a blur. And then I heard its nails going across this floor. So I have no idea what's in here with me. So if you hear me scream and kind of jump up, it's because now it's made an appearance. But it probably won't because I'm loud talker here. All right, so I got a million screenshots today because Sandra Greenman has put the call out for people to get her information for her to give to Stephen to try and show that I'm a bad person. The first thing I will say, okay, well, here's her post. Let's read that post to begin with. I have a request. If anyone has copies of videos that Jax West made, not case related, of course, because this is MAM gossip, so this page is for things outside of the case. But those where she was talking trash about people close to Stephen, family, me, etc. I have some, but Stephen, what's to hear them all? If you have them, please message me. Thank you so much. So that's her beginning thing. Before I get into the other screenshots, because I'm going to go over these one by one and address them all. Anything I say in these live videos, I say to Stephen. I tell him what pieces of shit they are. Oh, there's Tammy telling you about the experts in the Justice Review. Thank you, Tammy. And Stephen says things about them as well. So go ahead, Sandy, and your trolls who are in here now watching. Go ahead and show this stuff to Stephen. But, okay, I talked to Stephen on Sunday. He was very upset and very pissed off about all the drama. I wasn't involved in any of that drama that was just going on because I've been busy and I'm not in Making a Murderer world right now. I am dealing with my political stuff and visiting with Melissa and Marnie. So I didn't ask Stephen what the drama was that was going on there, but he just told me he's sick of all the bullshit. Again, not pertaining to me or anything with me. Then I'm sure this is probably something that's ticked her off, but he had told me that, actually, no, I'm not even going to get into there. I'm not going to tell you what he told me. I'm just going to say that people are lying to him about money. And so I made a post about that, which again is the same thing that I always tell y'all. Only give money to his commissary or to Kathleen. Don't give it anywhere else. I did not say who it is that's lying to him about money. I'm guessing maybe that's why Sandy is so defensive now, because is she assuming I'm talking about her? Because, these people who want to keep trying to say that I'm out to make money, I'm not the one that did a GoFundMe and asked supporters to help me because my basement flooded. That was Sandy, not me. So I'm going to guess it's her guilty conscience when I posted that she assumed I was talking about her because, all these people in their shady things with money. Go read my messages, please. Well, Christy, let me go. I'm going to go through these screenshots and then I'll go to the messages. Or do I need to read that? Yes, okay. I see your message now, Christy, just popped up. Yes, I see that. That $300 a day is what Stephen is allowed. So, okay. So that was the first post. Let me see. Okay. So then Tina Tilly says, I don't know who that is. Sounds like that's a good thing. Jess Van Gundy says, what's going on? Holly Gordon, and Holly Gordon is somebody that always wants to talk shit about me, says Steve needs to hear the truth about her. And then, why isn't this? Oh, sorry. It's making it like I want to. Why is this freezing? What is this doing? Hold on. Why is my thing? It's not letting me scroll in these screenshots or go into this message. Hold on. Why is this doing this? It won't go off my thing, and now I can't get these messages. After these messages. What is going on here? Because now it won't let me go into any other messages. Well, let me see if I can go through Facebook and do it. Stupid thing. Will it even let me do that? Sorry. Well, okay. Well, I'm still trying to figure that out. Let's go over the things that they keep trying to say is proof that I stole money. There's this girl who likes to claim that an organization I was the president of was under investigation for stealing money. Not true. And this was something that she was a dog with a bone on that. And she would not let up, where she called my local police department and she contacted the Secretary of State, right? Is that who she called? I can't even remember because this is like 4 years ago now. All right. So I was the president of an organization called, well, it doesn't matter what it was called. The members of my organization know that organization was an international organization and you have chapters, you know, so, and Attorney General, you're right, Christy. Thank you. So you have the state, you have region, and then you have the chapters all over, you know, so I was of a town of this organization. And the members of my chapter decided they no longer wanted to be part of the international organization and wanted to become its own community service organization. So we dissolved our organization. The Constitution and bylaws state, upon dissolution, you need to donate your money to a like-minded organization, which was the organization we started. And when we had the dissolution meeting, I don't know, I don't want to get into too much of the boring shit, but you know, when you run a meeting, there are certain rules that have to be followed and you have to have quorum, which quorum is usually, it's in your constitution and bylaws. X amount of people that are a member of your organization have to be in attendance, okay? So we had double quorum at the dissolution meeting, as well as I invited a current national vice president, and she was a past state president to the meeting. And ahead of the meeting, I had given her our constitution and bylaws because all our constitution and bylaws are different, but your bylaws can't overrule the states, and the states can't overrule nationals, how that all works. So she had my constitution and bylaws on what our rules of dissolution was. And then with her being a national vice president, she had access to the member database. So she knows how many members we have and what we needed for quorum. So we were double quorum. And so we voted to dissolve our organization and start a new one that we had no ties to another organization, because it being an international organization, and don't tell Tammy this, but one of the things that organization would raise money for was this thing called Nothing But Nets, which was mosquito nets for Africa. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but my members wanted to concentrate locally, not globally. Don't be mad, Tammy. So we dissolved, and somebody tried to go after our money. And what they did is they contacted the Attorney General's office and said we stole money, because they were claiming because we dissolved our chapter, it meant we then had to give our money to the state organization, which that is not in the constitution and bylaws of the state, of national, of anything. That's not the rule. It's no different than if you own a McDonald's franchise and you closed. You have to give what money you've made to the McDonald's corporation? No, that's yours. That's the money you made. The money that our chapter had, we made from the events that we did. That's our money. So somebody called the Attorney General and accused us of stealing the money. Then they called the Chicago Tribune and said that the Attorney General's office was investigating us. Then when the Chicago Tribune called the Attorney General's office, the Attorney General's office will not give you any information on it. All they would say is there was an investigation. The investigation was never into us. It was into the complaint that this person filed against us, trying to get our money. So there has never been anything that's ever come from it. I discussed it with the Attorney General's office. And so all we needed to do was pay the Attorney General's office $200 for them to give me a letter to say we are in good standing. I have a whole binder of information from that showing everything we did step by step. I have the letter from the Attorney General's office. I have letters from who was the state president of the organization, as well as 4 other past state presidents of that organization, claiming that our money was our money and we didn't steal anything, and that they looked forward to continuing to work with our new organization. But once you put something out in the internet, if you Google it, it will say that the organization is under investigation, which it never was. And that was in 2014. So if that were true, don't you think something would have happened by then? And that organization continued to run, and we continued to do like festivals where I had to get a liquor license and get it from the state. And if I was being investigated or anything like that, do you think I would get that? No. So that's not true, and that's the information on that. Another thing they try to claim is that I stole money from a kid with cancer. What happened there is there were 2 members of that same organization who they were a mother and daughter, and then the daughter has a son who had cancer. Our organization constantly was trying to raise money for that family. And so the grandmother and her best friend, who were both members of the organization, decided they wanted to do an event, a vendor event, because one woman was an Avon lady and one woman sold like dresses. So they would do all these different events where you pay to have a table, not a craft show, but, so you have an Avon lady and a candle lady and, all that different kind of stuff there. So they wanted to do one of these vending events to raise money, where then you would charge people a ticket price to come in the door, and then there would be all these vendors. So you also charge the vendors however much a table. So those two women are the ones that organized all the vendors. And they were told that the money needed to come to the organization. Well, they said no, it would be easier for them to just collect the money themselves. And my stupidity, I was like, whatever, fine. Trust them, they're members, whatever. And so this event was done on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And thanks, Tammy. So it was done the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And so we made it a whole Santa event too, because the boy was like 7 years old or whatever. So I paid for a Santa suit and all this stuff, all these candy canes to pass out. And then we made it also a pancake breakfast. And so my organization paid for all the food, all the printing, balloons, all this stuff. We paid for a ton of stuff. So then there's the people that were paying the X amount to get in the door. So what do you do when you do an event like this, right? So after the event, you have to reconcile it, and the way events were done in the organization is, there's paperwork. And when an event is all done, you have to come back together, and now it's here. These were all the expenses. Here's the money that came in. So therefore, here's what's left over. So we had all of our expenses from pancakes and orange juice and printing and candy canes and all this stuff. And so we paid that out before this event even happened. So all this money is going out. There's money coming in from the people that were booking the tables for that vending show. But the people that were collecting the money from all those booths never turned them in to us. All right. Something else we had done at that event too is I asked people to bring an unwrapped toy that we were then going to be donating to the hospital that this boy got his treatment at. So we collect the money at the door. Now, I've told you before, I'm not good with numbers, and I don't think my boyfriend Jeff is on here. What day of the week is it? It's Thursday. I don't think he's on here. But he would remember all the numbers because we've been through this so many times because this was in 2014. So this was, like I said, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Our meetings were always the second Thursday of the month. So that second Thursday, I'm expecting these women to show up at the meeting because we have to reconcile all the numbers, right? So we need to go over all the expenses that the organization paid out. We have the money that came in at the door because it was one of our people that was manning the door, but we don't have any receipts, anything on what they collected from all those vendors. All that money has to be put together so we would then know how much money was going to the family. Meeting starts, they're not there. So you can even, I've done it before when I've had to pull up the text messages where I'm texting them going, hey, are you coming? I do not hear from these people for almost a year. In that whole time, we had kept the money in a cash box that had come in at the door, minus the expenses. So I believe it was something like $300 was left after we paid all of our expenses, but still not knowing what they got from booking all these vendors because they're not showing us what these vendors paid or how many there were and any of that. We have none of that. And so then all of a sudden, out of the blue, the grandmother contacts me and says, yeah, we never got that money from the door. And I said, yeah, because you guys have to come in and show me what you made there, minus expenses. All, we need to see all that. All that needs to come together. You guys were supposed to come to a meeting and you didn't come to. And so then she accused me of being bitchy. And next thing I know, then her daughter makes a post on Facebook saying I stole money from her kid with cancer. Awesome, isn't it? And so that's what those people are referring to on there, claiming I stole money from a kid with cancer, where that money to this day is still sitting in the cash box. Waiting. Come on, bring me your receipts. Bring me your receipts of all that money you brought in. And all those toys that we had collected to go to his hospital, that was another thing that I was contacting the family about, going, we need to bring this stuff to the hospital. Let's do it. Nothing. So my boyfriend and I had to go deliver all that stuff ourselves. They wouldn't even take part in that, of bringing the stuff to the hospital. They were just poof, gone. Took all that vendor money, and we didn't hear from them for a year. So they must have got into a tough time and now want to hit us up for this money a year later. All right, so that's that case. Next thing that she brings up is saying that I stole money from Shirt Money. I've posted it before of Barb saying she got all the money. Here's what happened with that. And that's something that girl was a total psycho and contacted my local police department and the Attorney General's office. I had to go into my local police department. I told them all the facts. And then I also gave them Stephen Drizzen's number, because that psycho had also called Stephen Drizzen trying to get proof, because what it was is there were two different shirts for Brendan, an orange shirt and a green shirt. And one shirt's proceeds was supposed to go to Brendan, which we now know went in Barb's pocket. And then one shirt was going to go to his lawyers. So for the Barb shirt, every month we would post, here was the total, and then the money would be put into Barb's PayPal, and we would post the receipt of that. And the lawyer shirt didn't sell as well, and so I wasn't going to give him $20 this month and $16 the next month or whatever it was. So we held on to it because I think we sold the shirts for like 3 months. And so when the shirt sale was done, I asked Drizzen, how do I send this money to him? Because I think they had nothing like online or something, and you would have to send an actual paper check or whatever, and where to send it to. And so then he asked me, how much is it? And I can't remember if it was 200 and change or 300 and change. That's it. That's all it was that came in. And he said he wasn't concerned with that. So I had then gone to Barb's house, because we were doing a live, and I was a moderator asking, it was her and Scott and Pete Dassey. And so when I got there, I handed her, it was either 300 in cash or 400 in cash, because I just rounded up, so whatever it was. And I had even joked with her, maybe I should wait until we're on camera so people don't accuse me of stealing this. And so people accuse me of stealing it. But then once Barb said she got all the money, that she finally admitted that she had all the money, then they switched it to say, no, it's the rally shirts that I stole money for. That's not true as well. The very first rally, I organized it. And then right before it, Carla got all bitchy and did some shady shit. Shocker. So I had told Barb had been given all the money, and I told her, and I still drove halfway to the rally and delivered shirts and signs and banners and all this shit. Stuff that people have never paid me for, have never attempted to pay me for, but then they'll jump on the bandwagon and try and claim I steal money when they got shit for free. Plus I drove to frickin' Wisconsin to deliver it. So they'll try to claim, no, it's the rally shirts now, trying to do that. Well, once you say that I'm not part of this event, fuck you. I'm not making another fucking shirt. Go fuck yourself. And all the money had already been transferred to Barb. And so Barb was told, it's on you now, babe. I'm out. So you've got everybody's money. If somebody didn't get a shirt that ordered one, give them their money back. It's not on me. Go ask Barb where that money went. Barb has all the money. Period. Another thing the psycho likes to say is, I canceled an event. It's that rally. That there was a Facebook event made off of Free Brendan for that rally. Damn fucking right I canceled the Facebook event off of Free Brendan. Free Brendan was going to have no association with that event because they were doing things that I had discussed with the Manitowoc Sheriff's Department and the Village Works and the police department. I had to negotiate with, I had to bring the ACLU in on it because they were demanding outrageous amounts for us to do it. And now agreements that had been made, these people were not going to listen to them. Like, you're not supposed to be on courthouse property. You can only be on public property. You can't be on the courthouse. You can only be on, you can't be on those steps that they take pictures on every year. Now, they're not supposed to be there. They're not supposed to have any sound amplification. And they're like, we're going to bring a bullhorn anyway because we're special and people need to listen to us. So no way am I going to risk Free Brendan being associated with this event that is not following the rules. And they're like, that could have screwed things up. Screw what up? You have barely anybody who attends that rally. Those rallies are a joke. They are. Sorry. You get 30 people that come and half of them are Avery-related family members. So when you have Making a Murderer be this big, huge sensation and you can only get 30 people to show up, that's pretty sad. And they constantly just make this event to be more about themselves than it is about Stephen and Brendan. Where I've now been told, like, this Mammothon money, oh, well, they're not going to give it all to Stephen because they're having a party where we've rented a room and going to do this and they're going to pay for it out of that. And I discussed this with Melissa Kaluzinski today on how absurd that is, that Brendan and Stephen are in prison, but his supporters need a party on his dime. Right? I mean, just think of how mind-boggling that is. So money that people gave to that Mammothon that they thought was going to Stephen and Brendan is going to be used so his fans can have a party. It infuriates me. And I know they're trying to use now, I had seen a post of somebody saying that, well, she's now trying to make money, blah, blah, blah. I made a post one time because people have asked about it that, this week so I visited Marnie yesterday. I visited Melissa today. I'm going to see Stephen this weekend, allegedly, but Sandy's up to her old tricks again. And I had visited Melissa and Marnie last week. Vending machine food costs money. I'm not rich. All right? So, and gas to come down here is $50 and actually I just filled my tank now. I was talking with Tammy, speaking of Tammy, could she borrow some stolen money? Yeah, well, at least you would do something good with it. You wouldn't be giving yourself a frickin' party. I put gas in my car. It was over $50, of driving back and forth to the prison each day and all this stuff. So people have asked, and so it's like, so if you want to put money on my PayPal, I'll use it for vending machine. So I think there's only been like $100 that came in, plus something from one of the moderators, but I'm not counting that in there. So when I went and visited Marnie yesterday, I put $40 on that card, because here in Illinois you get this card like a debit card, and you have to put the money on that card, and then the vending machines only take that card. So I put $40 on that, and then and then there would be $60 left, right? Again, math not my thing. And so I'm going to be driving this weekend the 3 hours to go see Steven, and I'll put money on that. Well, actually, Steven's, there is no card. You can only use quarters, which I think is really weird, that I have to walk into a prison with a sack of quarters. Doesn't that just sound dangerous? Don't you like beat people with sacks of quarters? But that's all you can put in the vending machine are quarters up in Wisconsin. So I'm not getting rich off of this. And thank you to those that did put money in the PayPal for that. So, and yes, I know people say this every time, that I don't need to explain myself, but I just thought it was interesting that Sandra, again, I don't know what her deal is, that, because I know stuff that Stephen has told me about Sandy that I'm not putting out there. But if she wants me to, I can. And so I messaged Sandy today, if this will let me. It still won't let me get into my messages. I don't know why. It's like frozen. Maybe I need to turn my phone off and turn it back on. No. Sorry, this thing's being stupid on me. Get off. Why does it keep doing, what can I help you with? I'm trying to turn my phone off. Whatever. I'm going to forget that right now. What was I saying? So I messaged Sandy directly when I got out of the prison. Was it out of the prison? No, it was before I went to the prison. I had messaged her and said, what would you like to know? And so then when I got out of the prison, she said, ugh, why can't I bring this stuff up, and why can't I get my phone to turn off? No, get off here. Trying to restart my phone, but it won't. It keeps doing the stupid, like I'm talking to it when I'm trying to turn it off.
I can't restart your iPhone, but you can do it yourself. Press and hold both.
Shut up. Ha, please. All right, we'll see if it works. And hello, Danny. So while I'm waiting to try and restart my phone so I can bring up the stuff and actually read to you. But I said, what would you like to know? And then she's like, nothing, I'm already getting the videos. So she's trying to get videos so she can show Steven that I talk bad about his family. Again, I talk bad about his family to Steven. I talk bad about Sandy to Steven. And Steven talked bad about those people to me. I'm not the one doing the drama. It's Sandy. Time and time again. She wants to play off. She's the old sweet lady. I've always been there for Steven. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Just stop it, Sandy. Stop it. Really. You look really sad and pathetic. My phone is restarted. Hopefully I can get this now. Or not. What did I just get sent now? um, so I'm being reminded that Sandra, because whenever Sandra doesn't get her way with Steven, she'll sell a story to a tabloid. And so this time with the tabloid, she said, or what's in the tabloid. Although Greenman gets on well with the family, she only has good words to say about his mother and father and says the rest are vultures. Now when she goes to Waupun Correctional Institute, she says the visitor area is full of women or family members. Because see, she wants to be his girlfriend so bad, where she lets people online believe that they are still a couple when they haven't been in a long time. She screwed Steven over that time too. Okay, now I can go to my conversation with Sandy. So I said, so what would you like to know? And she says, I don't want to know anything, Jax. I just want copies of your videos where you talk against me and anyone close to Steve. I have two. Sorry, dear, which she gets that from, Carla uses dear all the time. Sorry, dear. I just can't stand to be lied about, but this isn't for me. This is Steve's request. And I said, LOL, anything I say in my videos, I say to Steven. You can keep lying, but I know the truth. And then she said, especially about the part where I put on my Facebook page I was engaged to a child molester. Haven't been engaged since Steven. You're Finny. You are Finny. And I said, you did that, sweetie. Because she called me dear, so okay, I'll call her sweetie. And she says, I think I know what's on my own page. And I said, I beg to differ. Because this goes back to when Steven was with the evil Lynn. And Sandra was so freaking jealous that she started visiting another guy in Steven's prison and then changed her status on her Facebook to say she was engaged to him. And he was a child molester or a rapist or some crap like that. I don't know, but it was so funny and so pathetic. And it's really, now you're dating some other guy at the prison, really that's all you can do is try and date guys in prison. Something else that had been in those screenshots that I was sent to correct, somebody said that I'm the reason Tracy was removed from his visitors list. Not true. I had nothing to do with it. I was shocked when it happened. And let's just say those girls that love each other so much and have to get together, one of them's responsible for it. Okay. So I had nothing to do with why Tracy is no longer on his visitors list. Somebody said that Steven removed me from his visitors list. Never happened. Because I've never been on his visitors list except for recently. So, that's not true either. I've never been removed. Steven didn't call me. Basically, he didn't call me since the time that Tracy got on his list. He stopped calling me. And Steven had told me prior to that, nobody talks more shit about me to him than Tracy. Then Tracy gets on the list and he stops calling me. Then all of a sudden out of the blue, he calls me again. Then he tells me he's adding me to his visitors list. And he said, if you get that paper in the mail, And I got the paper. And I've only gone to visit him one time. And I'm supposed to be going this week. Unless Sandy gets her way. Because, I'm just so bad. I say bad things about his family. Abso-fucking-lutely I say bad things about his family. Just because they're related to Steven doesn't mean they're good people. And Steven knows it too. So go ahead, Sandy, and play this video for Stephen. I am absolutely going to talk bad about people who collect money in Stephen's name and keep it for themselves, or people who have abandoned Stephen and were happy for him to be in prison, or people who report me for trespassing and call me a cunt. I could go on and on and on. Somebody threatened me. I'll talk bad about them. I don't owe anything to anybody in that family. I am here to defend Stephen. That's all. And I have nothing to say about Dolores or Alan. Those are the only ones from Stephen's family that have supported him the entire time. And all I want is for Stephen to go free and ride off into the sunset with his mom. That's it. So I wanted to pop on here and, just address it since Sandy's going after me again. And, just so desperate to turn Stephen against me. And if it works and Stephen thinks whatever, nothing changes for me. Oh, I don't talk to Stephen or don't visit him. I'll still be running Stephen Avery page and MAM gossip. And, my life will go on. I will still defend Stephen. He's innocent. He was framed and he should be free. I'm not looking to have Stephen love me best. I'm not looking to be Stephen's BFF. I don't need to have a relationship once he's free or now while he's incarcerated. Don't care. I've told Stephen I'm here for him for whatever. Let me know what you need. I've told Stephen over and over again, when these vultures tell him stuff about me, ask me about it. I will be as honest because I've got nothing to hide. I've done nothing wrong. Don't care. Don't care. I'm going to continue advocating for Kent Pellegrini, Melissa Kaluzinski, Marnie Yang, and any other future cases that WMP Justice Review decide to take on. My role as advocate is I go visit the inmates. I email with them. I talk to them. I help their families if they need. I do social media for them if they need. Because like Kent Pellegrini, his family don't want to run a Facebook page. So I run that Facebook page. Melissa Kaluzinski, now I don't need to do anything for her Facebook page because her Aunt Helen just rocks it. But I'm a moderator on there that I can help as needed. Marnie, I visit with her. I'll be doing stuff for her case in the social media when we file next month. So I'll just keep doing it. So, and then I do so much other activism. I've been actually really crazy this last month, and our political, the session here down in Springfield ends, it's scheduled to end May 31st, but it might go over. But we're here every day in session stalking our state senate and our state reps. So, I'm really, really busy, and I don't get paid for any of this stuff that I do. So, I would love to get paid. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm not rich. But I believe in the things that I'm fighting for and the people that I'm fighting for. So, and if you've been on these videos before, you know I'm just come at me, bro. Show me, ask me whatever. There are some things I won't say if it's something case related that I don't want to cause a problem with the case, or say something that I've been told that I shouldn't say. Well, especially like in the Marnie Yang case, that I'm not putting this stuff out there until the filing, because you don't want to give the state a heads up on what all we got. So, but that's why I'm just asking you all if you do go investigating the Marnie Yang case, because everything out there says she's guilty. And there is was it ID channel? There was an ID channel episode, and you'd be able to look it up and watch it. Now remember, I said I went to Roundtable with all these experts. I've seen all the evidence. I saw the crime scene photos. I saw the autopsy photos. I've seen everything on this case. And then when I watched that ID channel show, oh my, it's all wrong. Even how they're saying the victim in that case was found. Nope, it's completely wrong. So much is wrong with that case. It looks cut and dried when you see stuff, because there's even Marnie's got a confession. And when you hear this confession, it's like, no, don't believe everything you see or hear. So that's a case I hope you'll fall down the rabbit hole with me on, because it was a famous case here in Illinois. But oh my God, if we have the Marnie Yang case and the Melissa Kaljuzinski case going on at the same time, both of them are from those cases are in the same county. And there is a corrupt cop that's involved in both of them. So, and I know there are other cases that that guy is involved in too. So what is that going to do to that county if both Melissa and Marnie are freed this year? 2 women that both women have been in prison for 10 years for murder that they did not do. You stole 10 years of their lives. Marnie has 3 children, but they were younger children. So you took away those kids' mother. Melissa was 22. So, she could have had a family now. You took that away. And how many more are there? Just like with Steven, it's, he's got 4 kids. They were stolen from him. So he was robbed of the opportunity to have children and raise a family. And his children lost their father. There really needs to be something done in our justice system that when you prosecute somebody that is innocent and you're doing all this shady shit, they should be in prison. Sweaty Sweat should be in prison. Anything ever happened with that? I saw somebody had posted that allegedly police were called to Sweaty Sweat's house. Was that fake news? I don't know. Right, Danny. Brendan and Steven are being held hostage by the state of Wisconsin. Yeah, Kitty, I'll be leaving this up. They can comb through it. They can play it for Steven. They can try and, oh, she's so bad. But nobody does more for Steven than the Steven Avery Project. And the moderators here are awesome and have put a lot of work over these last 4 years into making Steve, because two of the moderators have been here before me. And so, but like I said, we'll still be here regardless. And on the WMP Justice Review, there's videos on there. I did a video with Tammy on there a few weeks ago, and we're gonna be doing another one where we're gonna discuss Marnie's case on what we can say. So, but like I'm busy right now, so I don't know when that will be. Then we might be doing something where we you'll get to hear Marnie directly. So, but let me bring it back to Melissa. Melissa is the sweetest person ever. And we were talking today, her and Marnie say, and her and Marnie, they know of each other, but they're not friends or anything like that. But they say a lot of similar things, and how both of them know something's just around the corner, and they want to be excited, and but then it's like soul crushing to possibly think that you won't be freed. And Marnie has a life sentence. And so every time she says to me, the thought of that I may die here. And it's just like, oh, that's so horrible, you know? And so again, she wants to be happy because, you know, we've got all this evidence, you know, that Tammy has been busting her ass on forever. And Tammy too, not rich, you know, she's got an elderly mother to take care of too. And, she's got grandbabies and, you know, and she's been fighting tooth and nail on Marnie's case and getting all these experts and finding all this stuff. And so when you look at it all, it's all right there. Marnie is innocent. Same thing in Melissa's case. Everything is there that's showing she's innocent. And so you should be going, finally, I'm going to be heard and I'm going to be freed because it's all right there. But our system sucks. You know, because if our system was good, they wouldn't be there to begin with. So they always have to, you know, protect themselves from fully thinking, I'm going home. You know, and then I've been talking with both of them over the last 2 weeks of, you know, how much the world has changed since they went in. You know, Marnie's just cracking up at the thought of how we have cars that do that parallel parking on its own. And she's like, if you can't parallel park, maybe you shouldn't drive. And it's like, well, I can't parallel park. I'll drive around and find a more open spot. I'm not going to try and wedge myself into a spot. You know, just the internet. Not that they didn't have internet before, but in 10 years, it's changed a lot. You know, they both had Facebook or whatever, but it's changed a lot in the 10 years. Or I was talking with Marnie about Alexa and Siri, and she's like, that's just really weird. You know? But then for Marnie, she's was an avid diver. And so, and I don't know anything about diving, but I said to her, imagine how much diving stuff has changed in the 10 years she's been gone. You know, I'm sure they've got way cooler things for people, you know, and diving's one of the things that she's really passionate about. And so when she goes home and is able to go diving again, she's going to have to learn all this new stuff. Think about that. Where were you 10 years ago? And, so how different was your life 10 years ago from right now? Oh, and here's something Melissa said today. So we've talked about this before where Logan Correctional, the prison that Melissa and Marnie are in, we're going to be doing iPads where you could buy and have an iPad. And we had posted about a fundraiser because we wanted Melissa to get the iPad. And then we had taken the fundraiser down right away because somebody donated the full amount for her iPad. Well, then our outgoing governor, boo hiss, took away the iPad. That wasn't going to happen. They weren't going to get it. So Melissa has kept the money in her account set aside for the iPad. And now she tells me today that she's heard a rumor that June 8th or 9th, they might be able to get iPads. But then she isn't sure if she should. Because she said, if something happens with my case, because now remember, we didn't know about this thing that came out today. If something happens with my case, maybe I won't be in here that long. And I said, well, can't you take it with you when you go? And actually, I learned from her, you have to. Because I had said, too, could you just, when I get to the next thing she said, I said, could you just gift it to, like, your roommate? No, you have to take it with you. And Melissa says she doesn't want to be reminded of her time in prison. So she doesn't want the iPad, because also the other thing they would do to it is they'll, like, carve or whatever her inmate number on it. And she's like, I don't want it. And it's not going to, and I don't know if it's an iPad. It may just be a generic tablet. And so she's like, she could probably get something that's better or whatever. But the bottom line is she doesn't want to be reminded of prison. She doesn't want it. I said maybe she could then give it to her niece or nephew. Or maybe she could donate it to a school or a daycare, because she worked at a daycare. So maybe she could, maybe there's someplace she could donate it to. Because I said, you don't know how long it's going to take anything to happen in her case, where these constant 30 days, 90 days, 180 days or whatever, and continuance and this and that. And I said, you're already going to be on the edge of your seat on what's going on and when is this going to happen. I'm like, why not have the distraction? And, the money is there for you to get the iPad. You should get your iPad or your tablet and, have something to do. And yeah, just donate it to someone else. But she doesn't want to waste the money. She's like, well, if I'm only going to, if I'm getting out in August, what do I need a tablet for 3 months, 2 months? And they're all like that. Even like when I'm buying them food or whatever, they're not going to overdo it with food. Or Steven, like the one time I visited him, all he got was a V8. And when Steven talked about, because Steven, likes to talk to his mom as much as possible. And he had said there's money that is supposed to go on his mom's account. And I said, well, I know people would love to put money directly on his mom's account to make sure that she can talk to Steven. Do you want me to make a post about it? And he's like, well, no, when that money's gone. So instead of more money going in there, he's like, no, just wait until the money's gone. So he still hasn't told me to, do something for his mom for her phone account, but people not trying to take advantage of supporters and money. So isn't it funny that the people who are in prison are not trying to take advantage, but then I shouldn't say those outside, because it's only the ones outside in Steven world that are trying to put money in their own pockets or have supporters pay so they can have a party in Red Lobster. And that's a good point, Bree, that she can get a new case for it. But I just think bottom line, she really doesn't want anything left over from her prison life. when she's free. She wants to just go. And I get it. She said her TV would be junk, that she's had her TV for 7 years and there's some buttons missing on it. So it's almost like hard to turn a channel or whatever. So she's like, the TV's garbage, but she also won't get a new one because she just sees it as a waste. She can make it work and it's fine. So, but Melissa is such a sweetheart, and her parents are going to try and go see her this weekend. Here I am going to ask you for money. There is a GoFundMe for her parents, and that money gets used for Paul and Cheryl to go visit Melissa, and they put the money on her books. So, because Paul is disabled and he can't work, and so they lost everything, almost everything, when Melissa went to prison. Paul had his own business. Everything's gone, and Paul can't work. So it's hard for them to pay the gas and the tolls to drive there and back, because it's a 4-hour drive for them. Almost 4 hours, I think. And then because when you're buying food there, you're not buying it just for the inmate. You're buying it for yourself too. So they're buying food for 3 people when they go. And that's another thing about Melissa. So now, when Paul goes, her dad, because you get in the visitor's room and it'll take a while before Melissa comes. So Paul is instantly buying all her favorite food and drinks and stuff and having it there ready for her. All this food, flaming hot Cheetos, pizza rolls. She likes orange juice and all, so he's buying it all. I wait until she gets there to, what would you like? But so today, Melissa, she wanted a cherry Pepsi, so I got the cherry Pepsi. And then she said she wanted a cheeseburger, so I got her a cheeseburger. And then you have to heat it up in the microwave and all that. And then she wouldn't eat it because I didn't have anything to eat. Because I wasn't really hungry. So then eventually she's like, well, you better eat something. So then I had to go get something to eat because she was uncomfortable and didn't want to, just sit there and eat in front of me if I didn't have any food. So I got a 7-layer dip, or it wasn't even 7 layers. I think they called it Ssdd dip in Tostitos. So I ate something so Melissa would eat her cheeseburger. But so the cheeseburger is $6 for just a burger. I believe my Ssdd dip was $5 for, and it's just this little rectangle thing of the dip. And then I had to buy Tostitos to put it on. And so I don't know how much the Tostitos were. Drinks are $2 each. So it starts to add up. I was talking to Melissa today too about food she would like when she gets out, if there was any favorite restaurant or whatever, and she talked a lot about she would be so excited to see her niece and nephew because her nephew was like 2 when she was taken into custody, and her niece was a baby. So her niece doesn't even really know her. And she can't wait to be able to spend time with her niece and nephew. So, and then Marnie, in Marnie's case, like Brendan, so Marnie has twins, a boy and a girl that were 16 at the time, and then she's got a younger son I don't remember how old he was at the time. Was he like 12? Um, but the cops did horrible things to her children in trying to get them, because just like Brendan was Steven's alibi, so that's why they were so hard on Brendan, Marnie was with her kids. And so there is a book that Marnie's kids have written about what was done to them. And that's going to be released soon. So there's also a book on Marnie's story that is being written now. I don't, so I don't know when that will be finished and come out, but the kids' story will come out soon. And I haven't read it yet. Tammy had said that she would send me a copy of it. And then when I was visiting with Marnie yesterday, Marnie says, well, I have an earlier copy of it before it was, because it got sent to be edited. One of the things she told me is, her kids are twins, right? And, twins have that whole twin world. And so books get edited, right? So somebody, a stranger will change stuff. Even if you've written it about your own life, they'll change it. And so her daughter had said on one part that her twin brother was quoted as saying something, and she said, nope, that's not what he said. He doesn't talk like that. He didn't say that. This needs to be changed. So I love that her daughter was, making sure that things were right and accurate. So Marnie told me she's gotten a version of it before things have been corrected. And so she said, because I'll be going to visit both Melissa and Marnie, well, I don't know if I will now, depending on if I have to go to court on Thursday back up north. But I would go visit them on Wednesday then. Okay, so Marnie says that she'll just give me her book, her older copy, so then I could read that there. Because when I visited Marnie yesterday too, I guess inmates can, because they're only allowed to have so much of stuff in their cell, and so they will send stuff home to their parents, or they just don't want it at their cell anymore. And so if the people go to the prison, they can pick that stuff, this box up, and take it with them. And if not, then I guess they will only hold it at the prison for like a month, and then it has to be mailed, and now that comes out of the inmate's canteen to pay for it. So she's like, hey, I have this box for my dad. Could you just take it with you? So I took that box with me yesterday. So next time I see her dad, I'll just give him, what she said. It's like books that she's read that, she doesn't need hanging around now that she's finished them. So I took that box, and then she said, now next week when I come, she's going to give me her copy of the kids' book. And then, because I told you, Marnie is so smart. And so she wrote an essay on the prison system, and that got published somewhere. And so she would like me to read that. Julie asked, do Marnie's kids visit her? Occasionally. She talks to her daughter a lot. But, again, it's got to be a 4-hour drive for them. So, yeah, they don't get to come down as much. So, but, yeah, she does. Marnie has a relationship with her kids, whereas Steven was robbed of the opportunity to have one with his. So, and I haven't really been looking at any of the questions and comments on here, so I don't know if there was anything anybody wants me to answer on today's drama. But I think pretty much, unless you're Sandy's spies in here or Carla's spies, you've all either heard it all before or don't give a shit. So, but, you know, I just always like to put it out there and be straight on the stuff. And, you know, I know I don't need to defend myself, but I always want to. But I guess that's wrong, right? You shouldn't do it. You need a lawyer to do it because, plead the fifth or whatever. So I'm supposed to go see Steven. And, April, yeah, I will let you know. The kids' book, I think, is called My Mom Marnie. And Marnie is Marni. And her last name is Yang, Yang. Yeah, Kat. All the stuff out there. Go look. Go find or go look at videos of, like I said, that ID channel thing on Marnie. Oh my God, everything is so guilty. She's so guilty with everything you see. But she was never allowed to tell her story. So nobody knows her side. And something that I said that, you all won't get the experience to do, but from my first time going to the prison to visit Marnie, she's tiny. And I'm not just talking thin, because she is thin. She's 5 feet tall. I'm 5'7", which, isn't tall, but I mean, Marnie comes up to like my boobs, she's this itty bitty thing. And last week when I visited her, I wanted to know the size of her hands. So she put her hand up to my hand, and her fingertips, the end of her fingertips came here on my hand. She's a teeny tiny little thing. And I would really like you all to go look up everything on her case. Go ahead and make a thread here in Gossip and tell me what your questions are and the things that stick out to you on why you think she's guilty. Now, I obviously can't give you the other side of that yet until this filing happens. But fresh eyes. You know how much that's helped Stephen's case on fresh eyes on things. And once this case gets rolling, we'll be able to put more stuff out there for you. Transcripts to read, all that, because I know you guys like to, eat that all up. So, and that's what I've said to Tammy too, when talking about on how to, because I'll be asked, how do I bring in people from like Stephen Avery world to be interested in Marnie's case? And I've said you really can't right now because everything out there says she's guilty. And so you're going to go out there and you'll do a couple little searches, and when everything yours out there is, oh my God, she's so guilty, you don't care anymore and there's no more interest. So there's no falling down a rabbit hole because there's no counterpoint. So when we can, we'll start releasing what they're at, once that filing hits, and there's a chance that the kids' book will come out before then. And that's something too, and I know I made the post on this. No, Billy Joe, Kathleen is Melissa's lawyer, not Marnie's lawyer. Marnie has a different lawyer. His name is Jed Stone. And so Jed has freed 9 wrongfully convicted. So Kathleen has 20 and Jed has 9. So, okay. I lost my track of thought, but I remembered it again. For the Justice Review team, when earlier in this that Tammy started listing all the experts they have, we would also like to add a publicist and a fundraiser, because the whole point too of putting these teams of experts together is hopefully we'll be able to, start bringing in donations. Oh my God, I'm talking about donations. I'm stealing people's money. So now for people who can't afford this A team of investigators, that we'd be able to have private donations that will pay for stuff, that will pay for all these different testings, the ballistics, the, all those kinds of things. So we need somebody who knows how to fundraise, but we obviously can't afford to pay you a salary. So what we would do is you would get a percentage of what you brought in. So the better you do, the more you make. And then same thing for a publicist. We would like to, get a good publicist, and we're probably going to have to pay for publicists because there's, the publicist isn't bringing any money in. Julie, is the judge that is presiding over Melissa's new filing Judge Dow? Isn't he the judge that people are actually hopeful will rule in her favor? Correct. I've been told this is a good judge. So, and I believe in Marnie's case too, it would be a good judge that she would most likely get. So, I'm bummed that when I visited Melissa today, we didn't know that news because it would have been so exciting. But then on the other hand, it's better that, her parents be the one to go there and tell her this. But I do know that Melissa told me that Kathleen is supposed to call her. But I think it was next week. She said Kathleen was going to call her. She talked to Kathleen last week, and she said she was told Kathleen's going to call her next week. So, what news? That there is a date for Melissa next week for court. So there's Tuesday is when we'll find out if the date Thursday is going to be an actual court date or just something that all the legal people are doing through emails or whatever. So I'll find out on Tuesday if there is actual court on Thursday. If there is court on Thursday, I will attend it, and then we'll do a live. Probably would do a live on Melissa's page. So, and discuss that. And then if I still go visit Stephen this weekend, I'll do a live to talk about the visit, but I'm not sure when that will be because my next week is going to be crazy and I'm supposed to be down here in Springfield again and not at home. So that's why this all looks different too, is that I'm in this Airbnb that has some creature that runs around in here that I don't know what it is. And there's white fur on the couch here. And this Airbnb doesn't allow pets. So I don't know what this white fur is that's all over this couch that I'm currently sitting on. Julie says, how is Jeff handling the turtles? I don't know if Jeff is still on here. I saw at one point it said that Jeff was watching this. So Jeff, if you're still on here, tell them how you're handling the turtles. But we have 4 turtles now at home that I had. Is it 4? No, we have 3. We have 3 right now, and somebody else is bringing a 4th. So there's the 2 that I rescued, and then I went and bought a side neck. And then somebody else wants to bring her turtle. There's Jeff. wants to bring her turtle that she's had for years, but it's lived inside this whole time, and our weather's been crazy and the water temperature keeps dropping too low, and it would probably shock and kill her turtle. So she just messaged me again the other day, and I said, wait, no, hold off, don't bring her over yet because the water's too cold. So I'm sure Jeff's having a ball since I'm gone every week now. He can have parties and pillow fights. I'm sure that's what he's doing. Right? All right. Let's see. What time is it now? Oh my God, it's 8:30. Oh, water temps are 71 today, he says. Wow. Yeah, it's warm here in Springfield. I was so sweaty today. It was awful. But all right. Seeing as no questions here, I'm supposed to be doing an arts and craft project that I had to stop at a store and buy this stuff that I had to buy wire cutters and all this. I don't know. So, and I don't know what time I have to report to the Capitol tomorrow. The first two, you gave them names, but I forgot. They were cute names. I do remember that. I named the first one I found Chicken, because it was in the road. So why did the chicken cross the road? So that one's name is Chicken. Then the second one was I found on the highway trying to get up a curb and couldn't. And he was bleeding. So I don't know if he was run over or what. And so named him Kirby because he was trying to get up a curb. See, I'm really original and creative with these names, Chicken and Kirby. And then the side neck, she's beautiful. She has got the cutest face and it looks like a pig. And so Jeff named her Babe. Yep, Julie, you're right. Coat hanger arts and crafts. That's exactly what I'm doing. Making hangers out of paper clips. So Paula says, you should contact a college or university that has communication majors and or master's programs and ask to see if a student needs a project as a publicist. That's an excellent idea, Paula. Thank you for that. I don't know if Tammy's still on here. I don't think she is. And I may be talking to Tammy tomorrow. So, I don't know what my schedule is tomorrow. I haven't looked yet. I have to see, I get an email because the state reps, you never know when they're going to be in session until the day prior. So I always have to wait and find out what time I have to be there the next day. Most days the House goes into session around 11, but then there's times when they've gone into session at 9 a.m. I don't know. So, but like last Friday, they went into session at 9 a.m. and we're literally done at 9:18 because I looked at the clock. 18 minutes, and then they're like, all right, and have a good weekend. We'll see everybody at 3 p.m. on Monday. So they ended early on Friday and started late on Monday. So, but I've got packing to do because I am out of this Airbnb tomorrow, and so I'll go to the Capitol and do my service there. Yeah, they're Memorial Day weekend. They work every Memorial Day. So I'm told they will be working Saturday and Sunday and Monday. No time off. But see, it's so dumb because typically during session, they only work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They don't have session Monday and Friday. But since they end May 31st, now they're off all summer and won't be back till fall. Now they're trying to get all these bills passed that they should have done forever ago. But they know, oh, we're going to be going back home now through summer and have to see all of our constituents that are going to say, why didn't you do this, this, and that? So now they're trying to crank all this stuff out and they work more. But I was told today that there's the chance that they won't report for session on Sunday until like evening, and that it would basically be just a roll call to say that they had all been there and then they leave. I don't know, but I'm not going to be here Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. But then Tuesday, I would have to be here by 10 a.m. and 3-hour drive. So I will have to leave at 6 a.m. unless I change my reservation for where I'm staying next week and come down here on Monday. So I can, because like where this Airbnb is right now, it's 5 minutes from the Capitol. So it's way nicer to be able to sleep, get up at a normal time, not having to get up at 6 a.m. and then drive 3 hours and then go sit in the Capitol. So, all right. Officially gonna go now. Again, if you see stuff and want to question me on it. For the people who are here just to spy, go fuck yourself. Sorry for the language. And I will update you all when I can on anything I hear from Stephen, if I visit Stephen, if I and then what we hear on Melissa, Marnie, and Kent's cases. This is just crazy that all of them are hitting at the same time. So, all right, I'm out. Thank y'all. Talk to you soon.